Namaskar. Today we are going to read next text of grade 10 English, that is unit 4, but before actually that is unit 5, but before actually starting reading the text, so let's talk about the picture for some time. Okay, look at the picture there. What do you see in the picture? There are three pictures there. In the first picture you see a family. In the second picture, what can you guess? What do you see there? So the woman is holding a stethoscope on her neck. So she must be a doctor, right? And in the next picture, you see a teacher. Because he is holding a board marker and he is standing in front of a board. So he must be a teacher, right? So please think for some time. What do you want to start? So what's your aim? Do you want to start a family? Do you want to be a doctor, or do you want to be a teacher? Can you just think yourself? Are you going to start a family? Are you going to continue your study to be a doctor or a teacher or something else? You can be an engineer as well. Do you want to continue your study, or you want to stop your study and start a job? What do you think? Okay, so your aim may be continuing the study and be a doctor, engineer or something else, or your plan is just to start a family as well. But today we are going to read a letter written by a woman to her nephew, because her nephew has told her in the letter that he is going to start a job and he is going to stop his study. So let's look at the letter. It's given in your textbook as well, right? You can look at your textbook as well. It's on page number 48, right? You can see on the screen the letter. But before actually starting reading that text, can you answer me one question? If you are in trouble, who comes into your mind? Did you get my point? If you are facing a problem, who do you think first? Do you want to talk to your teacher? Do you want to talk to your parents? Or do you want to talk to your uncle, aunt, brother, sister? Who do you want to talk to? Who comes into your mind? Okay, in this letter, so Kunsang has told his aunt earlier about the plan he is going to have. So his aunt is writing a reply to him, right? So let's look at the letter. You can look at your textbook or on the screen, right? So at the top, what do you see there? You see April 7, 2017, means when was the letter written? So it was written on April 7, 2017. Who was the letter written to? Who was the letter written to? So it was written to Kunsang, because after the word dear, you see Kunsang there, means this letter is addressed to Kunsang. And who has written this letter? Can you find? Did Kunsang write this letter? No. No, actually Manisha has written this letter. With much love, Manisha, means at the end you see the name Manisha there. So Manisha is the writer of the letter. Now, okay, you got some idea about the general things about the letter. So let's start reading this. I will read out the line and will tell you the meanings of some of the difficult words and will explain the letter as well. Okay, dear Kunsang, thank you very much for your letter which I received this morning. So when did Manisha receive Kunsang's letter? Do you see the phrase there, this morning? So Manisha received the letter written by Kunsang that morning. Means that morning when she was writing the letter, and she also thanked him. Surely, so the things here she talks about is the reply or is about the things that Kunsang has stated in his letter to Manisha. भनेको कुन्साङलाई मनिषाले लेखेको चिठीमा यो भन्दा अगाडि कुन्साङले मनिषालाई लेखेको चिठीका विषयवस्तुहरूको बारेमा छ. That was the first line saying, surely it makes an old aunt very happy to know that her nephew is willing to find a job in the biggest metropolitan city of Nepal. In his letter, Kunsang has stated that he was willing to find a job in the biggest metropolitan city of Nepal. Do you know the meaning of metropolitan? So it is advanced, developed, or in exact Nepali, you can say Mahanagar, right? For example, Kathmandu is a metropolitan city, Lalitpur is a metropolitan city. So a big city, a developed city, an advanced city, a city where there is every type of facilities. Okay, a nephew, do you know the meaning of nephew? Brothers or brother-in-law's son. The general meaning is that, but in Nepali we have different relationships. Bhatija, Bhanja, Bhada. For every word we have a single word in English, nephew, right? Okay, to my surprise means Manisha is surprised to hear that Kunsang is going to find a job in the metropolitan city. Means he was not going to continue his study, he was just going to find a job in the city. So she was surprised. You are thinking of leaving high school and home too, means Kunsang is planning to leave school and planning to leave home. Why? Because he want to find a job. You must not do it. So in the first paragraph, Manisha is suggesting Kunsang that he should not leave school, he should continue his study. Okay? She is suggesting Kunsang not to leave school or not to leave home and not to find a job at this age, right? Okay, in the second paragraph, Kun means the short form for Kunsang. Kunsang is the long name and Kun is the short name. Okay, Kun, I know that you are one of the brightest and the most intelligent members of our family. What type of person is Kunsang? Is the brightest and the most intelligent. You know the meaning of these words. Okay. Honestly means to be honest. साँच्चै भन्नु पर्दा, इमानदारी पूर्वक भन्नु पर्दा, the exact Nepali word for that word, your parents have brought you to think for yourself. They have never compromised for your study and needs. Do you know the meaning of compromise? Compromise means making adjustments. Making adjustments. सम्झौता गर्ने. Okay. मोबाइल चाहियो, पैसा कम छ, सस्तो मोबाइल किन्यो भने, so that is compromise, right? They have never compromised for your study and needs, means Kunsang's parents were fulfilling all his wishes and desires. I really must say something. What you are thinking of doing could make you and everyone else in the family very unhappy. So what is Kunsang doing? He was just giving up his study, means he was leaving his school, he was leaving his home, and he was going to start, he is going to start a job, right? So Manisha is saying that his act of finding a job and leaving his school and home is going to make everyone else in the family very unhappy. Why? Because all the family members want Kunsang continue his study. They don't want him to start a job at this age. You must think of them and their unconditional love. Means Manisha in this second paragraph also is suggesting Kunsang to not stop his study. Now let's move to third paragraph. I think schooling is not boring and monotonous. Manisha is saying that schooling is not interesting, means going to school is interesting, it's not boring, and it's not it's monotonous, means it's not monotonous, it's interesting. The opposite word for monotonous is interesting. She is saying that going to school is interesting. You may find metropolitan city appealing. Do you know the meaning of appealing? It's attracting. Very beautiful, that attracts you. For example, the scenery of Nepal is very appealing to tourists. If you make that sentence, that means attracting, very interesting and attractive. Okay, you might be seeing the grass greener on the other side of the fence. Do you understand the meaning of this phrase? The grass greener on the other side of the fence. The exact Nepali form of this phrase is पर्खाल उतापट्टि हरियो घाँस देखिन्छ. But here it means you may find it good in somebody else's profession. For example, a teacher may like the job of a government officer. That means the grass greener on the other side of the fence. आफूसँग नभएको कुरा राम्रो लाग्ने. But remember, you are not living a useless life here. Means Manisha is saying that Kunsang living in his village, his life was not useless, it was also useful. Many people dream to live in your life, means many people want to live in the village. Dear Kun, everyone needs to be ambitious. Ambitious means having some ambitions, and ambitions means plans, okay, the aim in life. Dear Kun, everyone needs to be ambitious, means everyone has ambitions, but having over ambition may ruin your life, means may spoil your life. I agree with you, but obviously means clearly, if you want to do anything with the rest of your life, you should not ignore your parents' support and education. You can do anything, but when you do something, you should take care of your parents' support and education. That line means that. Without their help, you can neither live a peaceful life nor get a better job. Means without your parents' help, you can neither live a peaceful life nor get a better job. You understand the meaning of this phrase? Don't you think you are making this decision in a hurry? Means Manisha is saying that his decision of leaving his school and home and starting a job in a metropolitan city, this decision was taken in a hurry. हतारमा गरेको निर्णय. Undoubtedly means without any doubt, शंकै छैन, you must think before it's too late. Means you should think now. Okay, if you just give up your study and start doing business or start finding a job or doing a job, later on in your life, you will, okay, not feel comfortable. You will really regret leaving your school. She is suggesting that. I'd complete my studies first. Have you ever thought about your parents? Okay, she is trying to convince to follow his parents' suggestions. Okay, त्यही भएर यहाँ चाहिँ तिम्रो बाबा आमाको बारेमा सोचेका छौ. Okay, of course they won't be happy hearing this, at least from you. Means Manisha is saying that Kunsang's parents will be unhappy hearing that he is leaving his school and home and starting a job at this age. What about giving a second thought to your daydream? Means Kunsang has already decided that he wants to leave his school and home and he wants to start a job. So Manisha is suggesting to give a second thought. Means फेरि एकपटक सोच त साँच्चै छोड्छौ त type. How long do you think you can enjoy the sophisticated city life? Sophisticated means complicated, very difficult, complex, right? Teenagers like you might not have as blissful life as you are thinking now. Teenagers means the children of okay, from 13 to 19 years, means Kunsang is a teenager, he is a school boy, right? You might not have as blissful life as you are thinking now. Means Kunsang is thinking that starting a job in a metropolitan city will be very interesting, very enjoyable, very joyful life. But Manisha is suggesting that, okay, you are not going to have a beautiful life or an interesting life, right? Or joyful life. She is saying that he is not going to have a joyful life even living in a metropolitan city and doing a job. You and me really should have a serious talk together. Means he is trying to convince Kunsang to talk with her so that he will change his decision of leaving the school and starting a job. You are supposed to come and see me before you finally decide. Means Manisha is telling him to come and meet her so that they will talk together and she will be able to convince Kunsang not to leave the school and do a job in a metropolitan city. If anything appalling ever happens to you, appalling means not good, okay? So it's not good. So that is appealing. Appealing and appalling, they can be treated as opposite word. Appealing means interesting and appalling means not horrible. So that is not liked, right? Ever happens to you, I may not forgive myself. With much love, Manisha. So this is all about the letter. Now let's move to the task. On your book, it's on page number 49. The first one is vocabulary in use. You can look at your textbook as well. It's on page number 49, right? What does it say? Pick out the words and phrases from the letter that bring out the writer's attitude. Attitude means the way of looking at something. Okay? Pravritti, manovriti, whatever you say in Nepali. To what she is saying. List them and use them in sentences of your own. Two examples are given, surely and to my surprise. So now your task is to find out the words like that in the letter. Now let's look at the letter. Okay, you see surely there on the first line. You can look at your textbook. First line, nearly at the end, there is surely there on the screen. And to my surprise, it's also in the last line of the first paragraph, to my surprise. Likewise, go through the text, the second paragraph, you see the word honestly there. The first word of the second sentence of the second paragraph, you see the word honestly there. So another word here on the list is honestly. Okay. Go on reading the text. You will find other words as well. Okay, if you look at the third paragraph, okay, you see the word obviously there. In your textbook, it is the fifth line word. Obviously is there, right? Obviously. On the screen, you will see it on the fourth line. The word is obviously. O-B-B-I-O-U-S-L-Y. Obviously is also there. And nearly at the end of that paragraph, on the screen, it is on the second last line, right? Undoubtedly is there. So you can write undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. Okay, I think these are the words that express the writer's attitude. Okay, so what does the task say? It says list them and use them in sentences of your own. So what will be your sentence using surely? You can just make a simple sentence, right? So surely means in a sure manner, certainly, definitely, whatever you say. Okay, for example, people are talking that there will be no final examination at the end of grade 10 next year. So what I say about that is, you don't need to copy everything because it's my sentence. I surely don't believe that there will be no final examination. There will be no final examination next year. Okay. So remember the context of this sentence. People are saying that there will be no final examination next year. Then what do you say? I surely don't believe that there will be no final examination next year. मलाई विश्वासै लाग्दैन. I am certain that म विश्वास गर्दिन कि, I am certainly don't believe. So surely means certainly. You can make this sentence like this. To my surprise, so I am not going to write everything. So listen to me. I will make the clear. So I will make the context clear as well. I was expecting that my daughter had been working on her homework, but to my surprise, I found her sleeping in the bed. Okay. So what's that? You were expecting something and you found something different. So that is to my surprise. Okay. So honestly, I am a teacher. For example, the sentence can be, I am a teacher. I honestly love my job. Okay. Imandari purvak. Right. Honest means imandar. So honestly means imandari purvak. I honestly do the job means I do whatever I can. Right. So obviously means clearly. You can make the same sentence. I am a student and I obviously love studying. I am a student, I obviously love studying. You can just make that sentence with that word. Obviously means clearly, certainly, definitely. And another word is undoubtedly. Okay, our nation is undoubtedly beautiful. Means there is no doubt that Nepal is a beautiful country. Sankai chaina. Nisankoch. Bina sanka. Nepal is a beautiful country. That's the simple sentences that you can make with these phrases. So I'm not going to write everything there. You try to make sentences of your own using these words, use the dictionary, look at the letter, or you can make the sentences similar to mine and give it to your teacher so that he will give you feedback on those things, right? So now let's move to another task that is also vocabulary. The next task is also on your textbook on page number 49. It's double II. So that is I, right? And that is II, right? Vocabulary in use, one. There is one task and there is another task. Now your task is to find out the similar words for these. Okay? Cosmopolitan. So what does it say? Find the words from the text that give similar meaning to the following, right? Okay, cosmopolitan, advanced and worldly. Do you remember? If you look at your textbook, it's in the first paragraph, in line number 3. Look at your book, line number 3, first paragraph. A job in the biggest metropolitan. So metropolitan means cosmopolitan, advanced and worldly. This is metropolitan. I already told you the meaning of this word. I gave the Nepali term for this as well. And you can just sometimes guessing works. So it has politan and it also has politan. But it doesn't always work. So that is a clue sometimes to be used, right? Okay. The next words means these words are not in the letter. You have to find out the word appropriate for these there. So this is for A. And what does B say? Certainly, definitely, and absolutely, right? So what is the word there? If you look at the third paragraph, are you following me? If you look at the third paragraph on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at the end, you see in line number 5, I agree with you, but obviously. So obviously is also the word for that. Obviously. Okay. And there is another word as well. In the same paragraph, means in the third paragraph, the second last sentence or the second last line starts with undoubtedly. So this is also definitely, certainly, absolutely, undoubtedly. Okay. Or there is another word as well. It's on the first line of the first paragraph, surely. So that is also certainly, definitely, absolutely. So you can write any word. All these words means certainly, definitely, absolutely. Okay. Number C is, look at here, joyful, delighted, and ecstatic. Ecstatic. Joyful, delighted, ecstatic. Okay. Joyful, do you know the meaning of joy? Joy means happy. Okay. So delighted means pleased. You have to find out the verb for that. Okay. If you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraph, paragraph 4, the second last line, that line starts with the word teenagers. Do you see there? Teenagers like you might not have as blissful. Blissful means joyful. Okay, so blissful. The word for these meanings is blissful. Blissful means what? Blissful means joyful. Simple. Okay. Now number D. Joyful, happy, delighted, ecstatic means blissful. Okay. Number D. Horrible, loathsome, disgraceful. Do you find this word? I was talking about the meaning of that word nearly at the end of the letter. Appalling. Do you see? It's the last line. You are supposed to come and see me before you finally decide. If anything appalling ever happens to you, that appalling means horrible, loathsome, disgraceful, unhappy, whatever you say. So that is appalling. Okay. You can just underline the words, right? In your exercise book, you will later do that and will submit to your teacher for evaluation, right? Number E. Enchanting, fascinating, and charming. Okay, if you look at page number 49, the first paragraph, page number 49, or the third paragraph of the letter, the second line, I think schooling is not so boring and monotonous. You may find metropolitan city appealing and attractive. So appealing means charming, fascinating, enchanting. So you just write appealing there, right? Okay, appealing. So these are the words for the meanings given there in the textbook. Means the similar word or the words which have similar meaning to this. I think you understood this. The meanings are there and you have to find out the word from the text. So metropolitan is there, cosmopolitan, advanced, and worldly is the meaning. The meaning is given, you have to find out the word. These are not in the text, these are in the text. Now we have finished this task as well. Now the next is definitely the reading comprehension task. What we do is we just try to find out the answer of certain questions from the text. So these questions are in your textbook as well. You can look in your textbook too, because it may be difficult for you to look at here. If you find it difficult to look at the chart, then you can look at your textbook as well. We'll try to answer these questions together. First we'll read the questions and then we'll look at the text and find out the answer to that question. Now let's look at the first question. Who has written the letter? Who has written the letter? Kunsang, Manisha, Ramkarki. Who has written this letter? Now let's look at the letter. Okay, if you look at the letter, what do you see there? April 7, 2017 is at the top. Dear Kunsang is below that. And at the end of the letter, with much love, Manisha. When we write letter in English, the writer's name is at the end, right? So who has written this letter? Manisha. At the end of your letter, you will see in your textbook as well, with love, with much love, Manisha is written there, right? Means she is the writer. So you just write. So I'm not going to write. Who has written the letter? Manisha has written the letter. Very simple structure. You just write the answer in place of who and you just copy. Manisha has written the letter. Okay, number B, who is the letter addressed to? So the question given in your textbook is wrong. We don't say whom is the letter addressed to. We just say who is the letter addressed to. When we use whom, we do not use to. When we use who, we use to, but not with whom. Who is the letter addressed to? भनेको चिठीमा कसलाई सम्बोधन गरिएको छ is the thing, right? Okay, dear Kunsang. So dear Kunsang means we write a letter by addressing the person who is going to receive that letter. So dear Kunsang is said there. So the letter is addressed to Kunsang. The letter is addressed to Kunsang. Means who is the receiver of the letter? Kunsang. Simple. Okay. Where does Kunsang want to go? The next question. Where does Kunsang want to go? Now let's look at the textbook. If you look at your textbook or if you look at the screen, whatever you do, in the second line of the first paragraph, so your old aunt is very happy to know that my nephew is willing to find a job in the biggest metropolitan city of Nepal. So where does Kunsang want to go? Did you see there? What does it say? To find a job in the biggest metropolitan city of Nepal. So you just simply write the answer. So Kunsang wants to go. You need to say, so let's write this. Kunsang, okay, wants to go to a, okay, metropolitan city. Or you can just write, where does Kunsang want to go? Kunsang wants to go to the city. Why is not given there, so we don't need to write that. Kunsang wants to go to a metropolitan city. So that is the answer for number C. Okay. Number next is, why does Kunsang want to leave his village? The answer lies in the same line, right? Did you see the second line of the first paragraph? Our nephew is willing to find a job. So what is the purpose? Finding a job, right? So you just write Kunsang, okay, wants, okay, so to leave his village. You just copy this from the question, okay. So the purpose is what? To find a job. To find a job there, okay. So you can see that in line number 2 of paragraph 1. Okay, the next question, why does Manisha want her nephew to give it a second thought? So where is that question from? The same line is also given there in your textbook as well. So where is it? Okay, don't you think if I were you, okay. In the second last paragraph, give it a second thought is written there. So Manisha, so why does Manisha want her nephew to give it a second thought? Means Kunsang, Manisha's nephew want to leave his home and school and wants to go to a city to find a job. But Manisha is suggesting that that was not the age for finding a job and leaving the school. Means he wants, so what does he want? It's not clearly written there in the letter, but the intention is she wants her nephew to continue his study. So that's the answer. The nephew means Kunsang, he wants to go to a city, he wants to leave his job and he wants to leave his school and home, but Manisha wants her nephew to give a second thought, means she wants her nephew to continue his study. So the reason is also that, right? Manisha wants her nephew to give it a second thought. You can write that from your question. Because you just write, I just write from because she wants him means she means Manisha, wants him means him means the Kunsang. She wants him continue his study. Okay, continue his study. She doesn't want him start doing a job in a city. The real reason is that. Okay, so number F, what does it say? Number F, you don't need to copy, you just look at the question, listen to me, look at your letter, you will find out the answer and you can write it yourself as well. What suggestions did Manisha give Kunsang? Make a list. There are lots of suggestions. I will indicate some of them. Okay, if you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, line number 6 of third paragraph, you will find out different suggestions there. You should not ignore your parents and education. So what is one suggestion? Do not ignore your parents' support and education. That is one suggestion. Just below that, don't you think you are making this decision in a hurry? Undoubtedly, you must think before it's too late. Means make a decision on the, so make a decision at the right time, because it's okay, too early to start a business. So another, to start a job. So her another suggestion is think before you decide. Means think or decide at the particular time, at an appropriate time. It's too early to start. And you will see the second, the next sentence there too, the last sentence of the third paragraph. If I were you, I would complete my study first. Means what's a suggestion? Complete your study. That is another suggestion. You just remember that. And so if you look at the second last paragraph, the second line, what about giving a second thought to your daydream? Means give a second thought to your decision. That is another suggestion. Okay, and at the end of that paragraph, means the second last paragraph, what does it say? You and me really should have a serious talk together. Means let's have a serious talk together is her another suggestion. So you can just list down. I have indicated the line there. You can write these suggestions yourself. Now the last question, do you like Kunsang's idea of stopping his studies? So from that letter you came to know that Kunsang is planning to leave school and to leave home, and he is planning to start a job at this age. Means he is similar to yours age, right? So what do you think? Is his idea of stopping the study is good? Do you like it? What do you think? So me personally, I don't like his idea, because his age is for studying further. Means this is the time he should study. He can find a job later in his life. First, he should complete his studies. So that will be your reason. So if I have to write the answer to this question, I think your answer will also no. Means you also don't like his idea of leaving the study. So my answer will be no. I don't like Kunsang's idea of stopping his study, because at this time he should continue his study. He should think of the job at the later stage of his life. This is the time to study. You can just simply write, this is the time to study. So I don't like Kunsang's idea of stopping studies. So that's your answer, I think, because your answer is not going to be yes, because you are also not starting the job at this age, right? Okay, now we have come to the end, but there are some tasks for you as well. On the next page, page number 50, there is another exercise given just before C, follow-up activity. So I am going to read that. What can be the advantages and disadvantages of a cosmopolitan life that are hinted in the letter above? Read the letter again and complete the table. You may add your own opinion. Okay, so columns are given there. In one column, you will write the advantages of city life. In another column, you can write disadvantages of city life. For example, one is done there. City may be appealing, means attracting. That is one advantage. At the same time, another disadvantage is a city can be appalling, means boring, not interesting. You can write other ideas. For example, city is full of facilities. That can be one advantage. In disadvantage section, you can just write city is crowded. You can just write that. So in that way, you just list down the advantages and disadvantages of the city life. Okay, and finally, the last thing, you have read the letter to Kunsang. Manisha has written this letter to Kunsang. Now, read the letter, think that you all are Kunsang, and write a reply letter to Manisha. How do you start? What is the relationship between Kunsang and Manisha? They are aunt and nephew. So you can just start with, dear aunt, okay, and you also thank her for valuable suggestions, because throughout the letter she is suggesting him not to leave the study. Thank you very much for all your suggestions mentioned in the letter. I like them very well, but I want to do the job, earn the money, live in a metropolitan city. I'll enjoy the real life there, type of thing. Or, thank you very much for the suggestions. This time I'm going to accept your suggestion, so I will continue my study, but hope that you will help me finding a job in the city later in my life, whatever way. You just write that you are Kunsang and you are writing a reply letter to that letter you have studied just now, right? All these are homework for you. Do all the exercises and give it to your teacher. I hope your teacher will help a lot in making corrections of those things. This much for today. That's the end of today's class. Thank you very much. Thank you.